Ecology. Ecology, this word coined by Ritter in 1885. Definition of ecology, it is given by Ernst Haeckel. According to Ernst Haeckel definition, the study of plants and animals in reciprocal relationship with their environment is called ecology. So that is exact definition given by Ernst Haeckel. So in our India, father of ecology, Ramdev Misra considered as father of ecology because he studied extensively on plants and animals and their reciprocal relationship with the environment. Mainly based on the fields, there are two types of ecologies are there. First type, that is plant ecology. Second type is known as animal ecology. It is based on the fields. Plant ecology, it describes about different types of plants and their surroundings, that is abiotic factors, how they influence on the plant growth and development. But whereas animal ecology, it describes about different types of animals and their surroundings. So here biological organization, there are total 4 levels of biological organizations are there. There are total 4 levels of organizations are there. That is actually here all these 4 levels, different types of levels, the total including from first beginning 4 levels. First organism, it is first level of biological organization. Second, population. Third, organization. Community. Fourth, organization, that is known as biome. So at present we are going to discuss about total all these organizations. So it is a organism, it is individual animal or plant. But whereas population, group of individuals belonging to same species is known as population. So this population, it consists of group of individuals. They belongs to only one particular species, that is known as population. So here population, otherwise known as local population. Third biological organization, that is community. So community also known as biotic community. So here biotic community, it is formed because of assemblage of different types of populations belonging to different types of species. Next, whereas biome, it is large ecological community, extends larger areas with different types of plant communities. So here, but among these 4 organizations, largest ecological community, that is biome. Here in the biome, what we can find, different types of communities we can find in the biome. At present we are going to discuss about major biomes found in our India. Present we are going to discuss about major biomes which are found in our India. There are total 4 major biomes are there. So first, tropical rain forest, that is a first major biome found in our India. Second biome, that is tropical deciduous forest, it is second major biome. Third biome, desert. Fourth biome, that is sea coast, it is otherwise known as coastal biome. All these major biomes found in our India. So we'll discuss briefly about each and every biome. So first, tropical rainforest. So in this biome, usually different types of plant communities we can find. So in the tropical rainforest, biome, usually where we can find in our India, mainly Western Ghats and as well as northeastern Himalayas, we can find this tropical rainforest biome. Usually in tropical rainforest biome, in this biome, so because of heavy rains, we can find different types of plant communities like 𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗃, like this trees we can find in tropical rainforest. Next, as well as we can find climbers. Many different types of climbing plants also we can find in tropical rainforest area, and as well as we can find that is epiphytes. Epiphytes, these are also plants, they take support of other host plants, but these climbers and as well as epiphytes we can find more number, especially in particular tropical rainforest areas. Second, tropical deciduous forest. Second biome found in our India, that is tropical deciduous forest. Usually in this plant we can find teak, next sal, like this different types of plants we can find tropical deciduous forest. But especially in this deciduous forest area, in rainy season, plant leaves are green color, flattened, expanded leaves we can find in rainy season, that is monsoon season. But whereas in summer season, whatever plants found in tropical deciduous forest areas, summer season, all leaves they shed from the plant. So that's why leafless plants we can find in summer season, whereas green color, so foliage leaves we can find in rainy season. That is the characteristic feature of this tropical deciduous forest biome. In the same manner, the third type of major biome found in our India, that is desert. So actually in the desert region, so what type of climatic conditions we can find? So here very little amount of water, little amount of rainfall you can find. Desert condition, usually rainfall it will be very less, negligible rainfall we can notice in desert area. And as well as temperature point of view, if you will see extreme temperature you can find. That's why whatever plants found in desert biome, usually they have to tolerate extreme climatic condition. So here extreme temperature you can find, very little amount of rainfall you can find. So some plants, especially whatever plants found in desert area, usually many plants, they are succulent plants. Succulent plants means their plant organs, plant parts, they are fleshy. During monsoon season, whenever rainfall will be there, at the time, these plants, they store water in the form of mucilage. So, whenever water availability will be very less, that stored mucilaginous form of water that is used by the plants. So, such type of plants usually you can find. So, here mainly in this area, plants, they they exhibit some adaptations like sunken stomata, we can find desert area plants. Next, presence of thick cuticle or leaves are reduced. All these adaptations we can find in the desert plants. So, majority of the plants belongs to family Cactaceae family. Cactaceae family plants we can find in desert areas. That is a fourth biome found in our India, that is sea coast. It is otherwise known as coastal biome, but mainly sea coast area. This area, it is very sensitive area, because sea coast we can find it is linked between oceanic and terrestrial habitats. Here oceanic and terrestrial habitats link with that is sea coastal area. But here it is very sensitive area, climatic changes frequently changes. Few types of plants, whatever can adapt in this climatic condition, they can survive happily in this sea coastal area. But here that may be animals or plants, because here mixed climatic conditions will be there, very sensitive area. But type of plants, especially we can find that is mangroves, we can find in sea coastal areas, and swamps we can find in this area. But mangroves plants, these are well-known plants. So mangrove plants like Avicennia and Rhizophora. These two plants we can find more amount in the coastal areas. But these plants, they are having some adaptations, presence of pneumatophores. So here some roots, they grow opposite to gravitational force for respiration. So here whatever plants grow in the sea coastal areas, especially these Avicennia Rhizophora plants, roots, they grow opposite to gravitational force. They are known as respiratory roots. Those roots consist of small pores. They are useful for exchange of gases. That adaptation we can see in Avicennia Rhizophora. Now plants are adapted in the environment for survival and as well as reproduction. So plants, they exhibit many adaptations for maybe survival or maybe for reproduction. So usually the major biomes found in our India, that is 4. But in the same manner, at present we are going to study total major biomes, total all over world, we can find 3 major biomes. So how these 3 major biomes are formed means, here usually Earth, it is rotating around the sun, and as well as it tilt itself. That's why what happens, seasonal variations occurs, like temperature increases, day and night durations, all these climatic changes frequently we can notice because of these events. But these variations, usually variations and precipitation. Precipitation means that is rain and snow. These helps to form 3 major biomes. So that is tropical rainforest, first biome, second biome, that is desert, third biome, tundra region. So in the tundra region, we can find usually Arctic moss plants we can find in tundra region. So here the tundra region, it is very cool climatic condition, the temperature will be very less. So usually 𝗖𝗕𝗏𝗪s we can find, so very less temperature like Arctic moss plants only we can observe in tundra region. So already the desert plants we studied earlier, and as well as tropical rainforest plants also we have studied. At present we are going to discuss about topic succession. First, this word, it is coined by Hult. Hult, first time he coined the word succession. Now at present we are going to discuss about definition. There are two definitions are there for succession. First definition, gradual replacement of one type of ecological community by another in one particular place is known as succession. So gradual replacement of one type of ecological community. For example, in one particular place, one type of community is there that is replaced by another advanced community. That process only known as succession. Or another definition, gradual, fairly predictable change in species composition in one particular place is known as succession. So here succession mainly it leads to appearance of one particular plant community that is known as climax community. So that may be hierarch succession or xerarch succession. Both finally leads to appearance of one particular final community, that is plant community, that is known as, that plant final community is known as climax community. There are mainly succession, it is two types. First type, primary succession. Second type, secondary succession. So here the primary succession, usually it begins from sterile bare lands. In primary succession, here for example one particular area is there, there is no plant community, there is no plant vegetation, so there is no organisms, plant community it is not found in this particular area. This area, first usually pioneer species means first growing species in bare land or bare rock is known as pioneer species. For example, here one rock is there, big rock is there. So this first whatever plant community, whatever organism grow on this rock, that is known as pioneer species. So usually pioneer species what we can find, that is lichen. Lichens first they colonize on the rock. Lichens usually at the time of growing on the rock, what they will do, these lichens externally outside they produces different types of acids. These acids they break the rocks into soil. So here weathering process takes place because of growing lichens for many generations. These lichens they helps to formation of other plant community, that is moss plants. So moss plants replaced by pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are replaced by gymnosperms. Gymnosperms are replaced by angiosperms. All these changes helps to appearance of a final plant community, that is climax community. The type of succession is known as primary succession. Primary succession, it begins from bare land, sterile land where there is no plant community. So usually primary succession, it takes place on bare rocks or newly created pond. Usually monsoon season, what happens? So rainwater whenever flows on the earth surface, so the total that flowing water ultimately it enters into the low lying areas. Suddenly what happens? It leads to formation of ponds or reservoirs. Their plant community it may begins. But earlier there was no organism. Earlier there is no living being. But there if the plant community if it develops, that is primary succession. So primary succession also we can find, so here cooled lava. Because of volcanic eruptions, what happens? Lava it comes outside, it occupies larger areas. After cooling, so whenever rainwater falls on the lava, cooled lava, that water, that moisture helps to development of the pioneer species like lichens. Ultimately, same place we can find after many years, so climax community we can observe. Usually primary succession to appear a final climax community, it takes several hundreds to several thousand years. So that's why primary succession, it is very slow process due to lack of plant material. So beginning there is no material. So any plant material we cannot find on bare rocks. So here that's why humus we can't find, all fertile soil we can't find. Unfavorable conditions will be there. From that condition, because of lichens or different types of plant communities, so what happens? So that sterile area, it becomes into fertile area, which is useful for growth of different types of plant communities. So that is primary succession. Present we are discussing about secondary succession. Usually secondary succession, so here one particular area climax community is there. This climax community, it is formed because of primary succession. That climax community, it is destroyed by different factors like forest fire or volcanic eruptions or overgrazing or deforestation or different types of factors helps to destruct total existing plant community, climax community which is present in one particular area, that is completely vanished by different reasons. So here usually humus, after destruction of all this plant community, climax community, we can find plant propagules, seeds or spores, all these we can find. Fertile soil also will be there, but there is no plant community. So here if the plant community, again plant communities will form different plant communities, ultimately it leads to formation of a plant community, that is climax community. That is secondary succession. Secondary succession, already existing plant community, that is because of primary succession, that is destroyed. Same place, if one more plant community, if it develops up to climax community, that is secondary succession. So secondary succession, it takes very fast due to presence of plant propagules or spores or seeds and as well as nutrients, humus in existing area. So secondary succession, it takes only 100 to 300 years, 200 years to form a climax community. But at present we are going to discuss about primary succession. So at present, primary secondary succession differences. Primary succession, it is very slow process, but whereas secondary succession, it is very fast process. So this is major difference between primary and secondary succession. Based on the habitat succession, it is two types. At present, succession based on the habitat that divided into two types. First, hierarch succession. Second, 𝗧𝗏 succession. This type of classification based on the habitat, the first beginning at the time of formation of plant community, the what type of habitat is there, that we have to observe at the time of dividing these two types. Hierarch succession, usually it begins from hydric to mesic conditions. Hydric, this one first begins from hydric, the total water area. Finally, it leads to hydric to mesic condition. Mesic condition means average, moderate climatic condition. Whereas 𝗧𝗏 succession, it starts xeric condition, dry area condition. Ultimately, it leads to mesic condition. So, hierarch, 𝗧𝗏 conditions. Both the types of succession, that may be hierarch or 𝗧𝗏, ultimately they leads to mesic condition. So mesic condition, nothing but mesophytic plants you can find. So here that is climax community. Mesophytic mesic condition plants, we can say climax community plants. At present, one example we will study hierarch succession, how it can be seen in the aquatic system. So at present we are going to study hierarch succession in the aquatic system, water, how water helps to development of different types of plant communities from beginning to last final formation of forest area. So hierarch succession, primary succession will study. For example, a newly created a pond is there. So there what happens, first plant community will form. Ultimately that pond region, after many years, so what happens, you can find finally a forest area. So at present we are going to study about hierarch succession with the help of one example. Primary succession, that is hierarch. Hierarch condition. So first, different plant communities you can find. First plant community, phytoplankton community we can find. Second community, submerged stage, you can find in the water, aquatic succession. Third stage, free floating hydrophytes stage. Fourth stage, reed swamp stage. Fifth stage, sedges and marsh. Meadow stage. Sixth stage, scrub stage. Seventh stage, forest stage. All these stages we can find in hierarchical succession. It begins in the water, so ultimately it leads to appearance of forest in one particular area. For example, if you'll see here in a phytoplankton stage, so first here a pond is created like this. A pond is created. So here, after creation of the pond, first type of plant community, that is phytoplanktons. Usually first free phytoplanktons, that is unicellular phytoplanktons, unicellular or colonial or filamentous algae usually grow on the surface of water, that is phytoplankton. Next, afterwards, submerged plants will appear in that pond. Then afterwards, free floating hydrophytes will appear. Then reed swamp stage. Then sedges and marsh meadow stage. Afterwards, scrub stage. Then afterwards, finally, forest stage. With the help of example, if we'll study easily, we can understand all these stages, how hierarchical succession it ends at the forest stage. Usually phytoplanktons, unicellular organisms you usually can find on the surface of water, that is phytoplanktons, like diatoms you can find. Next, filamentous green algae we can find, and colonial form of algae also we can find in phytoplankton stage. First, in the newly created water pond where we cannot see the organisms. First, what happens? They colonize unicellular organisms like diatoms and free floating. Then afterwards, what happens here? So some filamentous algae also float on the surface of water and trap the sunlight, and they can prepare their own food material. These are all phytoplanktons. They can prepare their own food material. But phytoplanktons number gradually increases. But these phytoplanktons population, it is controlled by zooplanktons. Next, after few years, what happens? In same place we can find submerged plants. Submerged plants, like examples if we'll see, hydrilla we can find. Next, 𝗬𝗟 and 𝗕𝗏𝗪𝗔𝗃. All these are different types of plants we can find during this stage. All these changes occurring in only one particular area. First phytoplankton, then we can find slowly submerged hydrophytes in the water like hydrilla, 𝗬𝗟 and 𝗕𝗏𝗪𝗔𝗃. Then afterwards, free floating hydrophytes we can find. Free floating hydrophytes in same place. We are observing all these changes in same pond. Free floating hydrophytes, examples, different types are there, like Pistia. Next, Ajolla. Then Eichhornia. Next, 𝗪𝗓𝗪. Like this, different kinds of plants, that is free floating hydrophytes, we can find in one particular place. Then afterwards, after a few years, reed swamp stage appears. So reed swamp stage, nothing but here what type of plants you can find? Amphibious plants. So slowly, one by one, different types of plant communities are appearing in the same place. At present, reed swamp stage, amphibious plants you can find. So here amphibious plants like examples, typha we can find that same pond, and Sagittaria. Like these plants we can find during this stage. Next, sedges and the marsh meadow stage. Here we can find different types of herbs we can find during sedges, marsh meadow stage. Next, scrub stage. In scrub stage, we can find different types of plant community like salix plant we can find during this stage. Next, alnus plant we can find in scrub stage. Next, here the last and final. So all these plants appearing in this pond only, one by one, but one plant community replaced by another. So finally, in this pond, we can find climax community, that is forest stage. Forest stage like oak tree we can find. Next, maple trees we can find. These are angiosperms. Now here fir, it is a gymnosperm. Like this same place we can find different types of plants. But forest stage, it is final stage, which we can find in same place. The type of plants, whatever plants found in same place, they are mesophytes. This community is known as climax community. So these climax community, they are equal to environment. They can tolerate in the all types of climatic conditions. So here one pond, if you'll observe, first it started with phytoplanktons, but ended with forest stage. Unicellular organisms, like very minute small organisms, phytoplanktons, but same pond region, if you'll observe, finally after many years, we can find forest stage. But all these intermediate stages, but one by one they appears from first pioneer species, phytoplankton, climax community, forest stage. All these intermediate stages which frequently changed by another plant community, these are known as seral communities. This is otherwise known as seral stages. And all these seral stages, seral communities, intermediate stages, ultimately it leads to appearance of climax community in one particular place. Now topic, what is the value of ecosystem services or ecological services? So ecosystem, it is providing different things to human beings, different useful products, like we are obtaining from the ecosystem firewood, timber, fuel, so different types of chemicals, useful chemicals, and pharmaceutical drugs. So all these we are obtaining from ecosystem. So usually we cannot exactly find out how much benefits they are providing. But here Robert Constanja and his colleagues, they tried to put price tags for ecological services or ecosystem services. So according to Robert Constanja and his colleagues, so they are estimated that total how much benefits we are getting from ecosystem in the form of price tag, that is 33 trillion US dollars. That much amount of benefits we are getting from ecosystem indirectly. So here 33 trillion US dollars. All these timber, firewood, fuel, so water purification, soil formation, like this all beneficial aspects, so we are getting from the ecosystem. So at present globe, according to here the global gross national product, this value it will be around 18 trillion US dollars. So when you compare with GNP, that is gross national product, so here total ecological services, ecosystem services benefits, it will be average double. That much benefits we are getting from the ecosystem. Total ecological services or ecosystem services, that is total all services, they are broadly divided into 4 different types of categories that we are going to study now. Millennium, ecosystem, assessment. This is total all ecological services broadly divided into 4 categories. So all major 4 categories. First category, supporting services. Second, provisioning services. Third, regulating services. Fourth, cultural services. Like this, total 4 major categories divided by Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. So this assessment, it is major assessment. So first this assessment launched by here Kofi Annan, that is General Secretary of United Nations in 2000-2001. So here first supporting services, mainly few services placed in supporting services, that is first category. Here crop pollination, it is first services placed in supporting services. Next, oxygen production, second service. Third, nutrient cycling. So like this different services placed in supporting services. Crop pollination. So usually pollination takes place by different types of pollinators. So here oxygen production. Oxygen production mainly plants that takes from surroundings carbon dioxide and they releases pure gas, that is oxygen, that is placed in supporting services. Nutrient cycling. Different types of nutrients, they are useful to plant like nitrogen, phosphorus. Like this they are cyclic manner, they enter from atmosphere to soil, soil to plant. After death of the plant again they enter into the soil. Like this cyclic manner, some useful nutrients. So these nutrients cyclic manner, they move from plants to after death of these nutrients enters into the soil. So that is placed in supporting services, as well as soil formation. So soil formation by weathering process. So that is also a ecosystem service that is placed in the supporting services. So all like this different types of services, they are highly useful, they are supporting to human beings. So that's why these are placed in the supporting services. Next, provisioning services. Provisioning services, the different services, they are placed in the provisioning services like water, it is a provisioning service. Food, provisioning service. Next, fiber, provisioning service. And last and finally here, fuels, also placed in the provisioning services. So all these are ecosystem services. They placed in provisioning services category by Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. Regulating services. So like water purification, flood protection, all these services placed in regulating services. So usually water purification takes place in the nature with the involvement of different microbes. So here the waste materials, organic waste materials which are found in the stagnant water, so that is removed or used by the different microbes. Indirectly water purification also takes place in the nature because of different types of useful microbes. Next, flood protection. So mainly mangroves, they are highly useful to protect floods, protection from lashing waves. So that flood protection, it is involved because of mangroves like Abyssinia rhizopora we can find in coastal region. They protect from floods. Cultural services, education, recreation and aesthetic values, all these placed in cultural services. This is total given by Millennium Ecosystem Assessment. Different types of services percentage wise we will see. Mainly soil formation, among total 100% different types of services. Soil formation, it accounts around 50%. So major ecosystem service, that is soil formation, 50%. Next, nutrient cycling. Nutrient cycling, so total different types of useful nutrient cycling, it is less than 10%. Next, recreation, it is also less than 10%. Next, habitat for wildlife, all these are ecosystem or ecological services. Habitat for wildlife about 6%. Climate regulation, it is about 6%. The total all ecological services, they can out of 100%. So these are major ecological services, they contribute to nature. The percentage like this: soil formation 50%, nutrient cycling average it is less than 10%, recreation that is less than 10%, habitat for wildlife it is around 6% it is contributing. So climate regulation about 6%. Like this, different types of ecological services. So major categories and what type of services placed in supporting, provisioning, regulating and cultural services that we studied. At present we are going to discuss about few objective bits which are given in previous national level entrance exams. So first to 7th stage, if you know, easily you can find second stage. There are total 4 options are given. So first 𝗳𝗓𝗪, second plant is 𝗘𝗵, third plant 𝗧𝗦𝗪𝗓 is there, fourth option 𝗬𝗏𝗪𝗔𝗧. Among all these 4 options, 4 examples, they belongs to different types of stages. So first stage, phytoplankton stage. So here they are asking about second stage of hydrosphere. Second stage that is submerged plant community. Third stage, free floating hydrophytes. So but here second stage is 𝗳𝗓𝗪, it is actually third stage. 𝗳𝗓𝗪, 𝗪𝗶𝗑𝗪, 𝗖𝗵𝗯𝗪, all these free floating hydrophytes. So this option is wrong. So 𝗘𝗵, it is amphibious plant. So it is also wrong option. 𝗬𝗦𝗪𝗓, it is example for scrub stage. It is also wrong option. But among these 4 options, so here second stage nothing but completely submerged plants, hydrilla, 𝗬𝗏𝗪𝗔𝗪 and potamogeton, all these are different examples for submerged hydrophytes. So second stage nothing but here we can write 𝗬𝗏𝗪𝗔𝗪. It is fourth option is correct. Next question, secondary succession takes place in or on? Usually secondary succession. So primary succession, it starts bare rocks, newly created pond, newly created aquatic regions like reservoir or pond. So where we cannot find vegetation, that is primary succession. But they are asking about here secondary succession. So newly cooled lava, it is wrong option, because if the plant community formed in newly cooled lava, that is primary succession. So here bare rock, it is also wrong option, because plant community like lichens, they start from bare rock only. So bare rock, it is also wrong. Next, third option, degraded forest. So first, earlier climax community forest is formed, that is degraded because of deforestation or environmental factors. There, if the succession begins, that is secondary succession. So your third option is correct. Fourth option, newly created pond. So newly created pond, newly created reservoir, bare rocks, newly cooled lava. If the succession or plant community, if it begins, that is primary. So degraded forest, that is secondary succession. So third bit, both 𝗳𝗏𝗃 succession leads to. So here, based on the habitat, there are two kinds of successions are there. So 𝗳𝗏𝗃 succession, next 𝗕𝗏𝗃 succession. 𝗳𝗏𝗃 succession that begins from hydric, ends with 𝗕𝗏𝗃 conditions. So here 𝗧𝗏𝗃 succession, it starts 𝗧𝗏𝗃 condition to 𝗕𝗏𝗃 condition. But all that may be 𝗳𝗏𝗃 or 𝗧𝗏𝗃, all these successions finally leads to what type of condition? So whether it is medium sized water conditions or xeric conditions or highly dry conditions or excessive wet condition. If we'll observe here, so first option is correct, medium water conditions. Medium water condition, it 𝗕𝗏𝗃 condition. But why second option is correct means xeric condition. 𝗧𝗏𝗃 condition starts with xeric but ends with 𝗕𝗏𝗃. So that's why it is wrong. Highly dry condition, that is also not relevant option. Excessive wet condition, it is also wrong. So 𝗕𝗏𝗃 condition, that is medium water condition. It ends that may be 𝗳𝗏𝗃 or 𝗧𝗏𝗃 condition, it ends finally medium water conditions. So here one more question here. Hydrilla and Vallisneria are classical examples of what type of plants? So marshy plants, these are not marshy plants. Submerged plants, Hydrilla, Vallisneria and Potamogeton and there, all these are submerged plants. They submerge in the water. Free floating hydrophytes, it is wrong, because free floating hydrophytes, they float on the surface of water. Attached emergent plants, these are attached in the soil. These are also wrong, because Vallisneria, Hydrilla completely submerged plants. So all these questions which are given in previous national level entrance exams.